5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello. Wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. Thank you very much for joining us. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. It's Tuesday, it's 7 o'clock. It must be the Foxes Forum. And I apologise. I know, I don't do that often. I apologise for the tardiness of the start of the show and starting late. But we were all discussing Craig's ring. So, and he was showing it off. And if you're very, very lucky, ladies, who knows? In fact, yes, he's getting it there. It's very big and it's very white. That's all I'm going to say. But by the end of the show, it might be red. Who knows? This is the Foxes Forum. Look, I tell you what. Rather than me tell you what you should be doing, because you probably know by now anyway, let me get a few friends in before I get the guests in to tell you what you're supposed to be doing.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Indeed, subscribe, like, share, and if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. Look, he's showing his ring off. Let's get him in first. Oh, that is a very impressive ring, Craig.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that Cher had subscribed to the channel, Chris, based on what you've just said. You said like, share, subscribe. So, that's great. You should use that. You should try and use that. Try and get her on.
Which one of her? There's a lot of her. All different parts. You might not get them all together at the same time.
She's had so many facelifts, she's now got a beard.
Yeah, well done, sir. I was going to use that myself there, but you beat me to it. Look, I mean, as I say, that is very impressive. And look,
it is.
He's not been on for a while, mainly because Kate did have a warning out against him, and he had to, keep 2 miles away from her. Yes, but he's not. She's not here tonight, which means we can bring him in. He's back from outer space. He turned around, and he still had that look upon his face. David,
blooming lights.
It is now you're dark, sir.
I've got lights I've had to move it around a bit, unfortunately, because we're going to use it as a bedroom as well in a couple of weeks' time. So.
Please, not on camera.
Okay.
That would be a live watch along.
Like you're making promises.
Yeah, I do like your ring, Craig. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Where'd you get them from? Oh, that's better. Let the sunlight in.
Yay!
Is it?
I'll give you a link later.
Yeah, please.
I'll give you a link to the ring.
Yeah. I tell you what, Craig. I hope that didn't cost a mint.
Very good.
You got it free with the polo card.
I do fear that you've peaked early now.
Yeah, the fact that you think I've peaked, thank you very much.
He got me back because it was a serious show. So he told me anyway.
Well, more serious than most that we have done. I'm just looking forward to the watch along of Dave in bed. You know, I'm sorry, Cassie. I've done my ACL. Can I bring a substitute on, please? Anyway, talking of substitutes, I'm sure this is a gentleman who would very much stand in for you with Kathy, who is a lovely woman, I have to say. Hello, Kathy. Let's bring him in all the way from the final whistle. Jack, good evening.
Evening, fellas. How are we?
We're right. Good. How is your ring, sir?
Yes, all right. Bit of good lighting, you know. The sun's shining outside. It's lovely. It's a bit warm. I got the fan on, so it's a bit small, but it does the job.
Well, I've used that term many times. It's always stood me in good stead. But yes, I have a fan. Mine is slightly thick. Well, you can't really smell. My lead's not long enough, but it's a little bit bigger. Anyway, we're talking football.
Extension, you know, if you want.
Sorry?
You can get an extension.
I know, but it's in an extension. That's how far my plugs are.
And the lead.
Yeah, my plugs are all taken up with me radio. Guys, a question for you. Special day today. Do you know what day it is today?
Yeah, I do. I've forgotten.
Yeah, it's the day we get to spend time with you.
Well, it is, and you should enjoy that because
That's
of
why
it.
it's special to me. Yeah.
You just want me to admire your ring more, don't you?
No,
Dave,
quite the opposite, Chris, to be honest.
Dave, your answer of "I did know, but I've forgotten" means you had no bloody idea whatsoever.
No, I saw it this morning, but that was a long time ago.
It was. When you get to our age, it does feel like a long time. Well, let me tell you, it is the PSR Deadline day today.
I didn't know. That's not what I was thinking of. No. I was thinking it's like Goldfish Day or Faggot Day or something, you know, as in burgers.
Be careful where you're going with that. Well, yes, it is a PSR Deadline day. So let me just read it. Today, Tuesday, marks 12 weeks to the day since City received 3 fresh charges over alleged profit and sustainability rules. PSR to you and me. Breaches for 23-24 season, and that's significant. In September 2023, the Premier League wrote into their rules that any financial disciplinary cases would be handled in a 12-week time frame. But the 12 weeks have now elapsed, and City still do not have their answer. This is not a usual case, though, and that might explain the delay. The 12-week time frame was introduced so that punishment could be doled out the same season the charges were brought. Craig, that all makes great sense, but we do make it difficult for ourselves, don't we? Because we sort of query everything and fight everything, and that's what causes like the delays. I mean, we probably won't know until sort of the end of the season. We think we're promoted, and then we'll get 10 points docked off or something.
Probably. They're probably going to have the last laugh. I did read that there may be a delay on ours because it's not just the PSR financials. We were charged with not putting our figures in at the right time. So it's more than just the financials, which, you know, if that's true, then we probably fall into the Manchester City category. So we've probably got 3 or 4 years, to be honest.
That is very true. I mean, Dave, it is a recorded fact that Susan Whelan had the accounts well before the deadline of when they were due, but she never sent them off. Is this us trying to be bloody clever and being caught with our pants down?
Well, I've run out of thoughts about those two, to be honest. You don't get any facts, you just get people's ideas and thoughts on it. Whether they're doing a good job or not, it's debatable. So it wouldn't surprise me if she just forgot. But I cannot believe somebody in that position, who's the CEO, has to make that decision on her own. You know, they've got accountants. They've got advisors. So I have to lean towards it was done on purpose.
I mean, that is my way. That's the way I read it, and I think it's the way that most people would read it, to be honest with you. I mean, Jack, it's just like another confirmation of how badly, on the financial side, this club is run.
Yeah, there's a lot of decisions that we haven't made creative-wise, aren't there, Chris? Regarding PSR and giving all these wages out and not learning the same thing every time. We just keep doing the same thing time and time again, and the people who are doing these things are not being held accountable, so they just sweep it under the carpet like nothing happened. And welcome to Leicester City, where the same thing seems to happen season upon season, and the same people are still in a job who's making these decisions again and again.
It's true. I mean, Craig, I'm just getting to the point now where take the bloody points deduction or the fine, whatever it's going to be, and let's just get on with it. I mean, I'm thinking the 24-25 season, we're probably okay because, we didn't buy anybody, did we? Well, sorry, we bought, the Invisible Man as a right back. But I'm just thinking, let's just take it on the chin, get it over, because if we argue it this season and somehow find a loophole and get around it, we're going to have this next season, and I'm just absolutely pissed off and fed up with it.
It is. It is a shambles. I know we talk about us and our dodgy dealings or whatever we've done, but this is a massive organisation. The Premier League and the Football League, massive organisations, and how I can't imagine in any other sport, particularly ones that generate as much money, you can go into a season not knowing.
Carry on talking. I'll be back in a minute.
No worries. Not knowing. Yeah, put some better trousers on.
Right, now he's gone. Let's talk about something. Hey,
yeah.
You see that woman up the rows?
Yeah, how you can go into a season? How you can go into a season not knowing what your punishment is when all the charges are already there is ridiculous.
Do you reckon they're genuine charges? Because that's the thing I can't get my head around. There's nothing. Nobody's ever come out with.
I don't think they can invent new charges. I think
you would think so, but you do wonder.
Because you have to.
Is that me breaking up or somebody?
I went for it there, I think.
Sorry about that. As usual, I'm waiting on Amazon to deliver my parcel, and that's how I thought it was.
Can I just say that the four of us sitting around with our dodgy connections and nipping out, talking about other things that are a shambles, is quite ironic.
It really, isn't it? But my neighbour locked himself out and he hadn't got a key, so I had to let him in.
My lights are just rubbish.
He's having a problem with his lights. Yeah. You don't get this on Sky Sports, do you?
Yeah, you do actually. Yeah.
But Dave, I think
Cifuentes. Sorry, just to finish on that, I think Cifuentes was asked the same question. Was surely you just want to know what the playing field that you're working on, whether it's level or whether you have got a deduction, and he was quite forthright in saying yes. You just need to know what it is and then get on with it. And I think it's marked. It was typical of how open and engaging Cifuentes seems to be, in contrast to recent people in the hot seat.
Indeed.
It'd be a great season to get deducted, wouldn't it? Really. Got youngsters coming in. It'd give him time to bed down and then push seriously next year.
This is what I said, Dave. I mean, last season would have been probably better because it wouldn't have made any bloody difference.
No.
But if we get a, and we're not going to get a transfer embargo because we would have had it by now. So, but if we were, say, to get one in January, and I know they've just lifted Sheffield Wednesdays anyway, but to me, I wouldn't have minded because we've got all these youngsters that we can rely on, and it means we'd have to use them over the length of the season, and it would have given them time to bed in, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Lampard did it at Chelsea, didn't he?
Indeed. Indeed.
Brought some England internationals through. We've got some cracking youngsters there. I mean, it's exciting, really. And this guy will play them.
Although he didn't pick Alves. We'll come
It
on
was
to that later.
interesting. I don't know if any of the rest of you read this. I'm sure you have, where he was asked about the fact that you could still lose players in the run up to the end of the window closing, and he was saying, "Yes, we know that's something that's going to happen, particularly in the situation that we're in. But when that happens, the first thing I do is look into the academy and see if there's somebody who can fill the gap, and if not, then we go to the market." So it was quite refreshing that his first thought wasn't, right, we have to go and buy someone and bring someone in. The first thing I'll do is look in the academy and see what we've got.
Jack, do you think that's fans, though? I mean, transfer window, we have to buy somebody. It's if your team doesn't buy anybody. I mean, Spurs did it a few seasons ago and got absolutely pilloried by the fans for not buying anybody. You don't have to buy anybody if you don't think you need anybody, but the fans do get disgruntled, don't they?
Yeah, this is it with Leicester. Maybe the board are thinking, you know what, this team that's come down is good enough to go and win the championship. We don't have to go and buy a lot. I mean, this window were never about that, was it? We never really did need to do a lot of business unless we actually do sell players, which your squad is still bloated quite heavily due to the amount of players we have got. So the main reason for Leicester this transfer window was to replace Jamie Vardy, which we haven't done yet. Richard Kone's ended up going off to QPR instead of signing for us. So it's all about a striker. There's obviously a lot of speculation about Justin, El Khanous, Fatawu, and all our main players. So yeah, this window is always like that. Every fan wants to buy all these players because they feel that the players that we have got, the Skips, the Samares, the Christiansens, the Fasses, are just not good enough. They just want to get sold and get new players and who actually want to give it a go.
Don't you be knocking my curly-haired hero after the weekend.
that must have been lucky for you, Chris, on the Sky cameras, getting you a bit of the F off, like you've criticised him, you wore his wig, and then there you go.
I ate humble pie, and I said credit to him. And I did say before the match, forget last season, forget the pre-season friendlies. Everybody starts with a clean sheet. Now go out and prove it. Craig, and this was something we discussed on the review show. And I get booing, but for me, the only place where you should be booing is at the end of the game. If it is a really, really, poor performance. And I know some people don't even like booing then, but I don't get booing at half time, and I do not get booing when a player comes on.
This is our magnificent Union FS fan base that you're having a pop at now. I had a little discourse with a member of Union FS who said how great they were. Well, he put something on about their show of support for Sheffield Wednesday, which I said was great. And he put something on pre-game saying, "Oh, the safe standing zone, blah blah blah. Let's be loud and proud for Leicester City." And I happened to comment that the only time I heard you was when you were booing our own players. Now, he didn't like that. He didn't like that.
Surprise.
Yeah. And basically said, well, what about the support for the Sheffield Wednesday? And I said, yeah, that was great. And what it does is just feed the narrative that look how you can make your protest and still be supportive to the team wearing the badge. They showed you how to do it. They basically showed you up. And he said, well, the fact that we booed, this is his words, their booing made the team turn it round in the second half and get the win. That was down to Union FS. It was nothing that the manager did or in the thingy. And before I could get a chance to respond, he blocked me. So this is the kind of nonsense that you deal with from these people who have that once they've made their mind up, that's it. They think they speak for the fans. And I loved the fact that so many people were coming out in support of Wout Faes for his reaction after he scored and giving him the cup tears. I thought that was fantastic. And a lot of people are. And they've been treated pretty well, Union FS, and they've done some really good stuff. But the way that they get on the backs of players and boo, I think, is absolutely despicable, particularly when you see the support that there was at the other end this weekend.
I mean, look, Dave, you know my feelings about FaZe, but whatever his bloody name is. He's not my favourite player. You might find that hard to believe, but But as I said, everybody gets a clean slate. A new manager comes in, players can be turned around, a la Vestergaard under Enzo. So that you can't judge them on that. That was then under a different manager, and we're going to come on to that later. But this is the news. So I think the fact, because he particularly ran over the SK1, didn't he?
Yeah.
He shoved his teammates off to get into that corner, I think, to aim it particularly at them.
I don't think you boo your own player anyway. I think that's, as Craig said, despicable. I mean, I'm not a fan of his. I think he's overrated. I think his attitude's not good. But I'd never boo him. And he's got a Leicester shirt on. Christ almighty, and he scored a winner. Whether he wants to be there or not. You don't boo. I mean, I said to you, I think on Saturday, was it? You go to the away games and there's some right idiots there. I'm sorry, but they are. They don't go for football. They're going to get pissed and then just, I don't know. But certainly their attitude, their language with children there is disgusting. I'm not saying it's the same people. What I'm saying is there's an element in the supporters that causes all this. And if they think it's right to boo a player, what do they expect him to do? Or what do they expect to get out of him? We've done it so many years in the past, and it used to be old people. But now it seems like it's the youngsters.
Chris, sorry. Can we ask Michael in the comments to expand on why he feels Union FS are doing a good job?
Michael, by all means, please do expand. Well, I like a lot of what Union FS do, Jack. I can remember all the tifos I've had over the years, from the Champions League to the Vardy tifos, etc. And why I say boo at the end of the game is because you're not booing an individual. You're booing the team. Now, because at the end of the game, you can't single out an individual. But so what you're doing is basically, in my mind anyway, and I'm not saying it's right, but everybody has their own opinions on it. But to me, like I say, I'm just booing the whole team when I do that. Without FaZe, and a lot of the players and Cifuentes was going around shaking fans' hands. Without FaZe, straight down the tunnel, and you can't blame him. You can't blame him, can you?
See, when we're at games with FAS, it's always woo. They'll always say woo, and it sounds like Leicester fans are actually booing him in it. And I sort of, sitting at the game at Sheffield Wednesday, I thought they were saying woo, and then all of a sudden he scores, and he's basically blown his lid with what he feels that the fans have obviously booed him and whatever. Which obviously players retaliate, don't they? Sometimes they'll probably look cool with it, and you've seen players get hindered from away fans and that, but they give it right back to these people. And this is what football is, It's a game of, if fans give it, they take what the player's going to come back at. So FAS, he hasn't painted himself in glory, has he? It's not. He thinks he's better than what he is. I'll be honest. If he's got an ego to as big as his bloody his bonnet, So I think with everyone gets frustrated at games. They do. The performance in the first half, I thought, was quite shit, to be fair. With Sheffield Wednesday, were far the better team, and we really had to do something. I thought Marty changed the game well. He brought Winks on for Skip, and I thought we produced better. We dominated second half. We should have been doing that probably the whole game, to be fair. But this is the whole situation. Football's a heated game. We all get lost in the moment, and we get frustrated, and we let our emotions get the better of us.
Talking about getting lost in the moment, I refer you back to Nigel Pearson when he had to go at the fan at the game. Not a full-on Eric Cantona, but it was. But if you're gonna hand it out, you've got to take it. And I was going to ask you, Jack, and you basically answered me there. Was it root or was it booze? Because when they came on, it sounded like there was booze to me, but I'm listening obviously on the telly with headphones, etc.
It sounds different on the telly, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And when they actually zoomed in on his face, having just come on, he was smiling. Now, whether that was a sarcastic smile to say, like, yeah, I'll show you, you buggers. But I don't know, but I mean, you know, I suppose we're always going to have this controversy unless he changes his name.
Well, unless they come and tell us, the people that are doing it, what it was.
Mm.
You know, someone here that was in that part of the ground, but I actually thought it was Woot first as well.
I said it, yeah, when I was sat there at the game, all I could hear was Woot. I never heard Boo, because I'm just like, we do this every game, innit? We always say Woot when he comes on or he scores or does whatever. I just think with Woot, he's very much he's a hot-headed character, and he's maybe he doesn't handle criticism well. Some fans, maybe we go over the top, but that's what it is. But constructive criticism is what these players have got to take at the end of the day. They're professional, and not every performance is great. You've got to let your feelings know about it. And if he can't handle constructive criticism, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, the manager's the one that dishes out the criticism at half time or whenever. The fans can't do that. They've got to show it in some way. Craig, I want to let you sort of, I presume you've been reading what Michael's been saying. Yeah. Before we get on to that, there was booing at half time when the players went off, and I think that was booing. And it was a case of like, you're booing, it's like saying you've had an awful meal when you've only just finished the starter. And I've got to say that all those people that booed at half time ended up looking like fucking dicks because we came out, did that in the second half and won the game.
I mean, sorry, Michael, I respect everybody's opinion, but when I've asked you to come back and say how they're doing a good job, basically what you've come back and said, we booed them, and that's them doing a good job. If you know your boss would tell you you're not their boss, this is the whole thing. You know, we've just brought in a new manager who should be capable of sorting out his team at half time. And he did well. I say he did, but clearly it wasn't. It was the reaction to the boos, as we've established, that turned it round. I don't see the big thing for me is the most vociferous, noisy set part of any fan base can do so much good, but they choose to use it negatively, and that's my biggest issue. If they were the ones who were like getting behind them no matter. I mean, the fact that they used to sing through good times and the bad, we always back the lads. The irony of that should have come down in a big bucket of shit and gone all over them, because they don't do that. You know, fan bases can do that. Sheffield Wednesday fans, they've got no gripe with the players. You know, the players have turned up, but they hate the club. But they've done it in the right way. All they've done is support the players. You know, so you could be the sort of catalyst for turning the King Power back into a fortress that it was. You could do that. The group of you could do that and just sing positively. Whether it's going, we've all been there in the past where we've conceded a goal, and the first thing that has happened is the fans have started shouting, "We love you, Leicester. We do." You know, those days, they can do that if they want to, but at the moment they're choosing to be negative, and I can't imagine. I just do not understand why negativity. You think negativity will breed positivity.
Dave, just the last comment there. We're fans, we pay their wages. Without us, there would be no club. Would you agree with that?
Well,
I don't think we pay the wages, to be honest with you. I don't think there's enough money taken on match day to pay these wages that they're on, but that's another story on another show.
This is what you want. You want constructive debate, and there is none.
I used to envy clubs whose supporters would chant when they're 4 down, you know, and still have the same passion and love for their club. I really envied that, and there's a few around, you know, there are still. And we used to be one of them. There were moaners, yeah, but most of them sat in the double decker and places like that. So, but the fans in the Kop always gave support, and I've seen that disappear over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe, since Brendan started messing about.
Yeah. Hopefully, Jack's on his phone and not having a wank. I'm not sure what he's looking down at there. Oh, that's good. Thank God for that.
You've got a smile on your face.
to make a mess on your keyboard otherwise. Jack, in that first half, and look, you were at the match. We were. In that first half, I have to say, I heard very little support from the Leicester fans. It was all Sheffield Wednesday fans.
I think since COVID, football's atmosphere has been hit massively. I think our best atmosphere was probably, you go back to like the Premier League title winning season, you know, it was loud. I think football that's how it is now since COVID, you know. The away fans are always better than the home fans. It's like when Leicester City go away from home, they're loud, you know. And Sheffield Wednesday, in the situation that they are, you know, for them to turn up in the numbers that they did and to sing throughout and do what they did, that's massive respect for them, you know, and solidarity. Leicester fans got on their feet and clapped them in after 5 minutes. And that's what I love about football, when football comes together, things like that, Chris. And the atmosphere wasn't great at the weekend. It probably hasn't been for the last few years. But the thing is, the fans, obviously, they have to get behind the team. Of course they do. But then it's about the team also sort of turning up as well to give the fans something to sing about and that. And that's what we sort of struggle with at the minute. And in the first half, we were frustrated as hell with the performance, and it was just like, it's going to be one of these games, isn't it? And I could sort of see why fans were quite annoyed with how we turned out, because we thought Sheffield Wednesday were going to be a walk in the park, didn't it? I think that was what sort of the mentality.
I think we underestimated them. We didn't give them the respect. They were out there for pride, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bit. I mean, I'm comparing it to last season, but I didn't think it was a bad first half, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, we were better in the second, but it was still a hell of a lot better than we played last year. Now, I want to come to all three of you. Yeah, he is. Come on, Wout. Good boy, Wout. Keep up.
That's a wig.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Look, I don't get many people agreeing with me on this. I'm expecting you three not to either. When I look at the team, yes, we need a striker. That's obvious. But I also think we need another goalkeeper. And funnily enough, just before this match, we were linked with this gentleman, Piers Charles. Didn't he do James Bond? Oh, no, that was Piers Brosnan, wasn't it? And now he had an absolutely bloody fantastic game. Now, we've lost Mads, and we've got Stolarczyk. We do not need a new number one. Stolarczyk is good enough. And even if we had Mads had stayed, I would have sooner had Stolarczyk start over Mads. That's just a personal preference. Probably 50-50 for most people on that. We've got Bekovic in, who is here for a season. Will he possibly get the goalkeeper coaching role at the end of it? Who knows? If Stolarczyk had got injured, I hope that was somebody's chair and not a fart. If somebody got injured, let's say Stolarczyk, got injured, and we had to bring on Bekovic for 45 minutes, would I be okay with that? Yes, of course I would. If he then was to miss the Huddersfield game, whether he was starting or not, let's say he missed the Huddersfield game, would I mind Bekovic starting that? No, and I probably think he will actually start that. If he was to get an ACL, Craig, and he was out for 6-7 months, would I like Bekovic in goal for that length of time? No. And that's why I think we need an extra goalkeeper in. Bowser's not up to coming on at all. It's Sod's Law, one gets injured, then another one will get injured, and we're relying on Bowser. I just think I was listening to the QPR fan. Look, he didn't play at all last season at Everton. The QPR fan said, good luck if he's going to be, your number one. He's purely as a sort of a bench warmer backup. He cost QPR, he's saved a lot, but he also cost them a lot of points. Do you, Craig, and I'm going to ask the same question to all three of you, Craig, do you think we need another goalkeeper?
I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit because I haven't seen enough of Bowser to know whether he's any good. He could be good enough, but
he's an academy player. Would you like the academy goalkeeper in goal for? And he did all right in the friendlies. I'm not going to say he didn't have a good job, but I just think he's too inexperienced. If we're going to be, I think he could end up.
I agree, but what you end up getting is someone who isn't really bothered about playing. You know, this buying a backup keeper is one of the trickiest jobs. You know, because this guy's now, you know, first choice at a football club. Why would he come and stifle his own development by sitting on the bench? He wouldn't. So you end up with someone who's like third or fourth choice somewhere else, like another Begovic, like a Tom Heaton or a Scott Carson, or all those. You know, so finding that line, what we should have had is another one between Stolarczyk and Bowser now coming through. It's almost like we've had a bit of a gap. You know, I thought there was another guy coming through, but he seems to have disappeared. So there's a lot of ifs and buts in there, but ideally, yes, getting one who is worth getting is going to be really difficult.
We paid $12.5 million for Danny Ward to be our number 2. I mean, anything less than that. But again, do you see my point? And would you? I just think, if we were, and it's Sod's law. If it's going to happen to anybody, it's going to happen to Leicester. Stolarczyk gets an ACL, and then bloody Begovic breaks his foot, and we've got 18-year-old or whatever he is in goal against Ipswich and Birmingham, and I mean, I wouldn't feel confident. And once if he started to make mistakes, there's his confidence gone.
You're talking to me? Sorry.
I am. That's why I said Dave at the start.
Oh, did you? What happened to Everson?
He's gone. He's at Preston.
Why?
Because they put an offer in and his contract was out.
He's the perfect person that we're talking about. He's a perfect guy we're talking about, isn't he?
He's perfect. That's perfect for us, but it's not perfect for his development. No. He's been here long enough. He wants to go and play football.
Yeah, okay, fair point. But isn't that any keeper?
Well, that was my whole point of how difficult it is to get one. Yeah.
And I'm not sure this guy's good enough. He made, God knows, 11, 12 saves. Well, he didn't catch much, did he? Didn't hold on to a lot. He did.
Distribution was a bit poor, we should have scored at least 2 of the ones that he saved.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah. I think he made about 3 or 4 really good saves, but the rest were like straight at him and sort of slapping them away. So I'm not sure. I think Craig's right. It's a problem, and if come mid-season, you could be saying, "Look, I told you so."
Oh, he will.
Oh yeah, I know. Just get it out of the way now,
I don't. That's hurtful. I'm hurt. Jack, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, I get what the guys are saying. It is a difficult decision to make, and he isn't the finished article, which is why I think he would come in as a number 2. And he is going to be under. Let's be honest with you. It was the first game with everything that's gone on. They were up for it. They had pride to play for. 10, 12 games in, when they've probably lost 6 or 7 of those, they're not going to be playing for pride, and his confidence is going to get a knock. Don't know how much he is, and I'm only saying this guy because obviously we've just seen him and we got linked with him before the game. So I'm not saying it should be this guy, but do you see the sense in getting a number 2 in that isn't Berkovic because of the long-term possibilities?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Charles, I think they won about £8 million is what was being referred to before. Have Leicester got £8 million? We didn't even have £3.5 million for Kone, so I'd say no. So he did well at the weekend. Maybe that's because it was back against the wall, a real siege mentality, and he had to prove that he was good enough to play in the games that they need him the most, and he stepped up massively. He made some great saves. Even the header from Patson Daka, he saved that one, which was really straight at him. So I think Leicester have got a good goalkeeper in Begovic, experience to help Jacob push on. I think Steve Bowser's got a lot more to learn in his game, a lot more development. I think Begovic is the one to really help him along that way. Begovic done all right at QPR. I think he played 42 games, I think it was, not before he went to Everton. So,
but that's an opposition fan saying he did all right at QPR. The QPR fan said there was times when he was a nightmare.
That's the thing. Stolarczyk is good at saving the ball. He made a great save, which tipped it onto the post at the weekend. His distribution, I question, I do. But you look at what Mads was. He was the better goalkeeper out of the two, if we put it into facts. But Jacob's got a lot of learning to do. I wouldn't say he's the finished article. He's still got a lot more to develop in his game, but he's a number one that I trust this season. He's good enough to step up. Whether we need a second goalkeeper, that's the club to know, to be fair, and what Marty wants to look at.
Mm. No, that's fine. So basically what we're saying is it's 1 for me and 8 against me, I think is the current count, So if I was to come back later in the season and play the smug video...
Yeah, live with
Sorry,
it.
mate.
That's because of Christmas.
No, I'll just be reveling in my glory if that happens. Look, we're going to talk now about not the games as such, but I did say to all of you to bring along one thing that you've learned from this weekend, and we will come to those at the end. But I thought it was interesting. Some people might think it's boring and I need to get out more. But I compared Marty's first league game with Ruud van Nistelrooy's last league game. Now, I know that the last league game was against a very good Bournemouth side, and this first game was against a stubborn, but let's be honest with you, a team that we should have beaten. But when you look at, and I will go through it because I don't know how big that is for everybody. On the 25th of May, we lost 2-0 away at Bournemouth. Manager was Ruud, and we played a 4-2-3-1. 18th of August, we were at home to Sheffield Wednesday. We won 2-1. Marty was manager, and he played a 4-2-3-1. Now, Marty hasn't really, apart from Bekovic, he hasn't got any new players in. So he's basically playing with the same squad that Ruud van Nistelrooy had, less a couple of players, obviously, that have been sold. Now, when you look at the lineups, Stolarczyk started in goal for both games. The back four under Ruud was Justin, Faze, Cody and Thomas. It was Justin, Okoli, Vestergaard and Thomas for Marty. These are the starting lineups, of course. Skip and Sumari in the centre for both those games. The three behind the striker was McAteer, Ayew and Christensen for Ruud. And, of course, for us, it was Fataru, yes, I know, was injured. Elkanous and Mavididi was also injured. And then we started Daka up front against Bournemouth and Ayew up front against Sheffield Wednesday. Does this not show, Craig? When I look at that, the thing that really hits me out is how fucking awful Ruud van Nistelrooy was. Because he hasn't come in and he's not said, right, we're going to play a different formation. He hasn't come in and said, I can bring Lionel Messi on now, although you could argue that he could with Fatawu. Does this give you sort of hope for the future?
In what way, Chris? I'm not sure what point you're trying to make. The
point
team is very similar.
The point I'm making is that as good as the same players, almost the same starting lineup, same formation, we've now got a manager that knows what he's doing against a manager that had no bloody clue.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult when you've got a lot of those players who weren't available to Ruud, but you've also at a point where that team is lacking any kind of confidence going into the last game of the season. You know, they're on their knees, they've been relegated already, whereas you've got a new guy coming in with fresh ideas. He's got his best players fit. I think I can see why you've done it, but I think it's very difficult to compare the two and learn anything from it, to be honest.
Vardy had just retired as well, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Well, neither team had Vardy. That's the thing. But
I think the interesting fact is, look at the stats.
Well, we will come on to those in a minute, young Dave. I have got the stats ready for you because I knew somebody would say that. Here's one I made earlier, as they used to say.
Shows a lot, that does. I think, oh, shit. So, my store cupboard underneath me is collapsing. I think having Fatawu back as well, or Fatawu, as they say on the telly, and maybe Mavadidi made a big difference, but Mavadidi didn't, but Fatawu did. And I think somebody like that who can create havoc against the championship side makes a hell of a difference. And they had two old men. Well, they had Faze and Cody, didn't they, in the back four, you said. Cody was always going to struggle against Bournemouth. But Vestergaard was out of,
But all right, but then look at it this way then, Dave. We're saying that that's the team that Rude picked.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that was he picking was Fatawu fit when Rude joined?
Yeah. No. He got injured early on, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right. Would he have picked Fatawu? Could you have trusted that guy to pick Fatawu? Jack, had we gone 1-0 down in that game on Sunday, would we have come back if Rude had been manager?
I don't think so. I think his football would dire.
Was he playing?
Rude's football was like, what, one win in 17, were it?
Yeah. I just think there's very little difference between the two teams. You've got one manager that knows what he's doing against one manager that never knew what he was doing. And I'm going to tell you this, because we're going to talk about the substitutions. Rude's first substitution was after 71 minutes in that game. Marty's last substitution was 78. I mean, you got a guy in Ruud van Nistelrooy who, he brought his first substitution was Mongo in the 72nd minute, along with Piera coming on to skip. Then Brunetti, 71, 72 minutes the same. So why are you picking a player that's going to be leaving after the game? Why are you bringing him on to try and save a lost cause? Because we're down anyway, we're losing anyway. But he brings on a lone player on the 71st minute. He brings on Evans on 86 and he brings on Aluko on 89. Compare that, Jack, to Marty's substitutions. He realised that it wasn't working at half time. And so we bought Winks on. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. He bought Winks on for skip. He then made two substitutions on 70, Mongo and Faze, and two substitutions on 78. So, Ruud van Nistelrooy had only just started making his subs when Marty finished making his.
That's because Marty's more reactive and Ruud was proactive. Ruud's basically like a manager of a John Rupkin, isn't it? He's not a reactive director of football. He's just proactive. He just makes the panic stations like Ruud did. Same panic stations. He was reactive, Marty, at the weekend. He knew what he needed to do to change it. The midfield were too slow. We needed someone more effective to move the ball quicker and get it going. And Harry Winks came on and made the complete difference in that second half. And you look at Skip and Samara against Bournemouth, it was like watching paint dry again.
Harry Winks, Craig, and I know this is going to set you off, but Harry Winks, a player that Ruud van Nistelrooy had a handbags at dawn with and said, I'm not going to play you again, despite the fact that you're one of my best players.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with him not playing him. The first thing is the team, and whether, he's your best player. I don't think you can set a precedent and say, player, do whatever you want. Don't turn up, don't come and stay over when I've asked you to come and do a job for the team and the club that pays you. I don't think you can. You've got no chance of getting anything out of anybody if you just roll over like that. I think he was well within his rights to freeze him out. I don't like that. From a professional footballer, you know what comes with it when you sign up and you sign the contract. You're expected to be there when you're required.
I mean, Dave, the rumour is that he could only bring Winks on at half time because during the first half he was still driving up from London. I mean, it's just a rumour. Don't quote me on that. Allegedly, I will say, allegedly. But
what was Vestergaard's problem then? Because he had the same treatment, didn't he?
Oh, he was a dog. It was his was all over bringing a dog in.
Well, he bring his dog to work.
Yes, and he'd actually got permission because he had nobody to look after the dog. They've got this bloody huge training complex and golf course. He was given permission to bring him in, and then when he brought him in, Ruud van Nistelrooy said, "You can't bring your dog in." Now, if he'd been told no and then he brought it in, but I'm trying to make is now we've got a decent manager compared to the clown that we had last year, and that going forward, looking at these sort of decisions that he was making, it really gives me hope for this season because he's not got any fantastic new signings that he can throw in, and I'm just thinking he's got the same players, but they're just the decisions he's making, and he's putting the same formation out. I'm really starting to feel good about the season.
Well, Michael, he retired from Leicester. That was my point. But you see, the Brendan Rodgers issue was also bringing on substitutes after 90 minutes when the game, was drifting away. Why? What can that? I mean, you come on in 96 minutes. What can that possibly do? I know. Well, it strengthens the back four. Well, why not do it after 80 minutes or 75 minutes? It's an insult to the player that's coming on. And that's I don't know why managers do it. It must be something that I don't understand, but it seems crazy to me.
I think none of us understood Ruud.
The difference that Ruud, a forward, we didn't attack. A guy that is a serious goal scorer was scared to attack.
And I have
that's
to
what
say,
the problem was.
It was, and I have to say that at Christmas, Wayne's kids bought him the Ruud van Nistelrooy book, from top player to top manager, or whatever it was called. It has finally ended up in the bin. He has told me that he has thrown it away. I
don't think we had a shot on target at Bournemouth, did we?
Well, here's what we're going to. Here's what we're coming to now.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right. Jack, I think Jack nailed it on the head. We've gone from a reactive manager to a proactive manager. And I would say, though, you should never have anything other than a proactive manager.
You shouldn't, because that's what management's about.
Yes.
Thinking on the spot.
Now, I don't know. I mean, Wayne, Brad's not a lover of stats, but I'm going to throw some at you here. Again, oh my God, Craig's got his glasses on. He's looking ready to...
I'm poised.
You are. But I'm going to go to Jack first. Give myself a bit of thinking time. Here's the stats then from the last game. So against Bournemouth, we had 3 shots. 27 against Sheffield Wednesday. 3 from open play, 4 from open play. That is fine. So, everything else pretty much. But, I mean, and this was a bugbear of mine. You're never going to win a game, even if you're in the fucking conference, if you're only going to have 3 shots, Jack.
Yeah, Ruud was too defensive. We never even got into the opposition's half under Ruud van Nistelrooy, unless we played Brighton away, which we did. We scored 2 goals and when we actually did it. And with Marty, you're actually getting in the opponent's half. You're actually going on and doing the right things, what Van Nistelrooy should have been doing. So 2 different types of managers are doing 2 different things. Ruud did the worst things and Marty did the right things. And this is what we look at, 27 shots. I believe that was the last time we did that was when Klopp or our manager, obviously that game he ended up getting a sack, by the way. After that, I'm not saying Marty's it's going to happen anytime soon. So, well,
thankfully, I don't think we can afford to sack him. So that's at least one saving grace.
It's good to see that we're actually doing the right things. We're pressing from the front. We're creating opportunities. We've got players actually getting in the box like Patson Daka, instead of waving his arms about, is actually getting in there and pressing the players. And we've got players who are actually giving it their all. We needed a manager who would do the right things with these players. And with Ruud, when you bring stubbornness and don't know how to handle these type of situations, the problem's there to see. But with Marty, he's done a lot in 4 weeks than what Ruud van Nistelrooy did from November onwards.
Oh, totally. Craig, wish me luck, guys. Craig, I don't fully get XG. I've got to be honest with you. I've tried to understand it, and I do not get XG. But 0.27, and that was pretty. I mean, I made the joke. We had our XG was 2.42 at the end of the game on Sunday. I don't think if you add all our XGs up under Ruud van Nistelrooy, it would come to 2.42. If I'm honest with you, but that again shows the lack of attacking, and how are you ever going to win games if you're not attacking? And the fact that Marty has done this with one friendly, although he was at the game where we had four for 45 minutes, but he was in the background. I just think, how the hell did nobody else snap this manager up?
Well, he was in a job at the time, wasn't he? We've got him because he decided to leave QPR. But I think what he's done is, which is quite rare for managers these days, is backed up what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
This is what he said he was going to do. He was all about making chances, getting shots on goal. Trying to get the ball forward quicker but accurately, not just hoofing it up there. But all those positive actions were to create chances and to create goal attempts. And that's what he's done. A lot of those were poor. The XG, I can understand, Canu should have scored. So, there was a lot of efforts. A lot were poor or straight at the keeper. But we're getting into positions where we can have goal attempts. And that's the massive thing. So, yeah, it was encouraging, as I say. And the fact that what he'd said prior to the game in the pre-season friendlies was that he wants to play attacking football, but quick football. And then he recognised that the biggest problem in the first half was that everything was too slow. So he brought on Winks to try and move the ball forward quicker. And the same reason that he said he brought on Farce late on as well was because he carries the ball quicker. They had less of a threat, less people up front. They'd gone down to 10 men. So when the ball was back, you'd got Farce who doesn't think twice about carrying the ball forward or moving it quicker. So he brought players on to back up what he said he was going to do, which is really encouraging.
I mean, let me just say, because we've discussed about phase, haven't we, many times, Craig? And I did the performance, the player performances yesterday with Brad, and I actually gave Wout Faes an 8. I'll give him credit. And I'll tell you what else is credit. I mean, again, a manager who's looking at a team here that he must have known was going to come out at us, because, like I say, they're fighting for pride, and probably nothing else this season but pride. And, it's always the chance that you're going to go 1-0 down when somebody's, throwing the kitchen sink at you. But then to look at that and say, well, hang on, this is a team that hasn't had any pre-season games. This is the first game. They're going to get knackered as the game goes on. And as you look at that, Dave, he looked at that and went, right, this is when I'm going to make, bring on Faz, who's quick, go to 3 at the back. He actually changed the formation mid-game in a way that the players understood what they were doing and basically went for the jugular. Again, fantastic. This is what you expect, the basics that you expect a manager to be able to do.
Yeah, my only thought as it was going on and on and on and getting closer to the end was we've got nobody to put it away. And that was a bit scary at the time, because if we have that dominance over a team, we should have been 3 or 4 up without any doubt.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, it was only Sheffield Wednesday in their situation. When we come across some of the better teams, can we break them down? Because I'm not sure we do, because we're going to get back to how we were 2 years ago. The predictability of Fatawu, although he can go both ways now, which is useful, but Mother Didi tends to just go one way. So he was ending up with 3 or 4 players covering him, which meant he was ineffective. So, that slightly worries me. I mean, I'd love to see a big guy up front, to be honest. Giving it
Better approach your boat, Dave.
Yeah, I love a big guy up front. So it would be.
You promised you'd never tell, you devil.
I just fear for that.
But do you think, Dave, that look, we're Leicester, we weren't the worst team that's come down. It was Southampton and Ipswich and then us. We are the team that's come down that has most recently won a trophy, being the FA Cup. The most recently was won the title and got relegated. They are going to go because managers for other teams are going to look at it and go, yeah, they've got a threat going forward. El Khanous, Fatawu, Mavadidi, Monga, McAteer, and they are going to park the bus.
They are. People like Sky don't help when they go on about how experienced we are, and we've been in the Championship before, and in the Premier League, the same players. It's not the same players. We know that because most of them did, but a lot of them didn't play last year. They certainly didn't play the year before.
Yeah.
Without
wanting to come across all Joey Barton, I don't think that the co-commentator was the best on Sunday.
No. This was on the channel before the game.
Right.
This was people saying that with Leicester's experience and the players and the price of the players and all this nonsense, the wages, they should be contenders. But yet, all the predictions, I think there was only one, Sue Smith, that got us in the promotion.
Well, funny enough, and again, and I love my stat. Opta, who obviously do the stats for the Premier League and most of football, Opta in their predictions actually have us finishing second.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's without points, but I want to say, Jack, because one of the things I noticed was when we were going forward, that sometimes we played the ball back to keep possession. Now, it didn't go all the way back to Stelarczyk. It just went back to one player, and then it probably went over to the other side of the pitch. But that was getting booed. But that's part of attacking, isn't it? If you lose the ball and you've got nobody to pass to, and it has to go behind for one pass, then it has to. But when you look at that, 431 accurate passes. Now, there's 224 in fairness against Bournemouth, but I bet you most of those were between Stelarczyk and Cody.
Yes, with football, it's always about the build-up, how fast you can get the ball forward. And Leicester, how Sheffield Wednesday set up, what was it, a 5-3-2, I think it was, and it was about breaking that down and creating them spaces we could get into and get through. So we had to get Sheffield Wednesday to come out because they wouldn't. They just sat on that halfway line. It were about, how do you get through this team? How do we break that down? That's what you're going to learn over the season because most teams are going to play the way Sheffield Wednesday did. Yeah. So it just gives us that a bit more some of the teams are going to be able to pick off quite easily. Sometimes it's going to take that little bit of time. You look when Enzo were manager last time we were in the Championship. Some teams would pick off like 4s, maybe 5s, and then other teams would just be like the odd 1-2-0. And it's like, so a lot of the opposition are going to look at Leicester and think, look at the attack they've got. We need to stick at least 5 defenders. And this is how the teams who are going to be probably near the bottom this season are going to set up quite often. So it's good to see that we've got a bit more transparency, a lot more. We can switch from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-4-1-2 in the second half, and it was more effective because Sheffield Wednesday had to come out a lot more.
Yeah, and again, I'm just saying, a manager that can make those decisions. Jack, a lot of my criticisms of the likes of Christensen last year was not getting crosses in, but I did back that up by saying most of the time when he actually got the ball into a position that he could cross, there's no other fucker in the box, so he had to come back. Against Bournemouth, we got 8 crosses in. Yeah. 8. I mean, again, #embarrassing. 34 in that game. Again, that's the sort of thing that's going to get you goals because if you're putting those crosses in, I know at the free kick that led to one of the goals, that's going to cause confusion in their box, and that's what you want to be doing.
Yeah, if you actually look at Leicester under Marty, they're actually getting 5, maybe 6 players in the box at the same time, and that's what you want to. You want to push the ante as much as you can. Maybe that's a gambling sort of thing to say, we'll do 5, maybe 6 to get the goal. But obviously, sometimes they can counter-attack you, can't they? And you've not got many
Yeah.
people. I worried about Samora at the weekend where he won that ball back and then he sort of left it and Sheffield Wednesday were running in. I thought, oh my God, like, what are you doing? But it's about...
I was watching one time when the Leicester were running back and Luke Thomas actually overtook Samori.
Yeah.
That's how he was doing.
That's how he is, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, before we come on to the 3 points, I want to throw this one at you, Craig, which is what Michael's just said. And I've got to say, he says his points and he puts them over very forcefully and he's totally entitled to do that. Sky commentator made Winks man of the match. She must be mad. I mean, it wasn't my man of the match, but I thought he changed the game a bit when he came on. And I think he deserved to be one of those being considered.
Michael, I hope you're sitting down. I agree with you. It wasn't my man of the match. I can understand why they gave it because I think the first half was so kind of soporific. Really, it was a little bit too slow. There was not a lot happened first half. That you almost put that first half to bed and take the second half as a brand new game. And because of that, Winks played well. So I can understand why they probably did it. But yeah, I wouldn't have given it to him. What I found was encouraging, as we talked about, you've got to try and draw teams out. Every time we did get a breakaway, I'm pretty sure it ended up with an attempt on goal, which was a nice thing because there was 3, 4, 5 players trying to get up and get there. Daka had a shot, McAteer did, Bilal, all of those. And I think it's difficult when teams just sit in. Man City found it really difficult last year. It's almost like they've been found out that if you just sit your defence in front of them, it's very hard for some of the best players in the world to break that down. But again, it was encouraging that we did do some little 1-2s. As I say, Canusi's 1-2 with Ayew, I think it was, or with Daka at the end of the game where he should have scored. And I thought, because of the way that the game panned out, I thought Ayew was a lot more effective when he dropped a little bit deeper with Daka in front of him and he could get on the ball and he did really well. When he was playing as a number 9, I think you could see that he's not a number 9, because he drops deeper and he was less effective. But if you can work it some way as the game goes to get them both on at the same time, very much like you saw Iheanacho and Vardy when they were at their peak, it was a very similar dynamic, I thought, between Daka and Ayew there, one dropping deeper and the other one pushing the defenders back and not allowing them to have a high line. So that worked really well. It was all encouraging, I think. But, it's nice to see Winks coming on and actually doing something in the game, affecting the game in a positive way. So I'd be interested to see if he's still here by the end of the window. He's another one who's been linked with clubs away. So
he's been linked with clubs abroad. I don't know. He won't even go from London up to Leicester. He's not going to go over to Valencia, is he?
Valencia.
Jack, you were there at the game. Was it a second yellow and therefore a red?
The thing is, he'd already been booked, so it's a 50-50, and he obviously catches him. He does win the ball, but he catches him also on the follow-through. So that's the way the referee's seen it. You look at it from the side, it looks dangerous, doesn't it? But then when you look at it on the camera, it's a lot more different when you watch it on the highlights when you get home. So, yeah, I can sort of see why he's gave the second yellow. It'll probably look harsh, but the thing is, if you're on a yellow, you've got to sometimes go and think, I can't really leave a lot on it, to be fair, these challenges. You just don't.
I don't think it was a straight red, but I think it was a yellow, and he'd already had the yellow. Just to go off tack for a second, Dave, and I know that's always a risk with you, but Jordan Ayew has taken a lot of stick for being given the number 9 shirt. Now, look, for me, and you guys haven't agreed a lot with me tonight, but that's fine. I won't have you back on, don't worry. But that's what we're here for. But no, to me, why has he got the number 9 shirt? Somebody asked on social media. Well, because it's a shirt number. I mean, the fact that Vardy had it, so what? Vardy's gone. Get over Jamie Vardy. he wasn't that brilliant in his last couple of seasons. You know, he shot his bolt. You know, and you know, part of that was the fact that he wasn't getting the service. I grant it, but would they sooner have had Daka have number 9? Wout Faes have number 9? I don't think it. I think I mean, years ago. Look, Dave, when you and me went football, it was 1 to 11.
Yeah.
And that was it. Back in the good old days, you know, when football was played by men and, you know, they put tackles in and all.
Back in my day, lad.
Yeah. When pitches weren't like snooker tables. I think...
Yeah, I mean, my first thought, Chris, was that it should have been rested, the number 9 shirt. But you're right. I mean, does it matter? No. They didn't rest number 7 when Keith Weller.
No.
Or when Frank Worthington packed up, or, you know, Derek Dugan, you know, I mean, better players, to be honest. The youngsters now will not agree that, you know, Vardy will probably be the greatest player Leicester have ever had for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of good ones over the year. Arthur Chandler, you know. Arthur Round.
Jesus.
Why do you want to go back? I didn't see them live.
We've had the Second World War since then, mate. What are you on about?
I think some of the...
I get your point.
I think some of the criticism, and not necessarily criticism, but I think the point some people were trying to make was that it should have been left open for us to sign a striker.
Yeah.
Rather than it be filled. So whoever you're bringing in is the new number 9. And rather than fill it with someone who's already in the squad. And it was that kind of disappointment. That does that mean we're not going to bring in a new striker? Because you would expect him if you bring in someone in who's going to start, he's going to be the number 9. So I think that's where some of it came from.
Well,
I think. Sorry, Dave. No, carry on, Dave. Sorry.
I think Ayew is a number 10. I think you're right. I mean, I said this on Saturday. He played so much better just stepping back. He likes to come back for the ball anyway. So, you know, the fact he gets it, he's a tough guy, you know, and he's an experienced player. But we need somebody that can score goals in front of him. It'd be lovely to see Daka doing it and shut everybody else up. But he's such a sensitive soul by the looks of it. I don't think he's going to have the...
I just think the problem as well is if we signed a new striker and was given the number 9, all we'd hear was, well, he's no Vardy, is he? Well, you know, back to the it's no more. Now, Jack, I know you've got to go, so I'm going to come to you with this one, and then I'll let you go. We said 3 things we learnt from the weekend game. Give me your one, if you pardon me.
3 things I learnt.
No, just one. I just want one thing from you.
One.
Yeah.
I would say how we've learned to use Jordan Ayew more versatilely. To be fair, I think the way he uses that false 9. I think we're using him. He's become more effective. He's roaming along the attack, not just in the middle, but out wide as well to create that space. And you look at the transition when it does work. That's what I sort of learned when we do pick up the space. We are really dominant in the areas. And I also sort of learned that Marty's subs are very better than previous managers.
Brilliant. Yeah. Jack, thank you very much for joining us. The final whistle, get over there if you haven't subscribed and give Jack a watch. His link is in the description below. So you can just click on that and go and follow Jack. Jack, speak to you soon. Take care, buddy.
Take care, boys.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And he's gone. So, Craig, your one thing. I think we got more than one off Jack there, but your one thing that you learned.
I'm gonna take something that is not necessarily directly football related, and I'm gonna say connection, communication, whatever, from this new manager, and I really like it. In the run up to the new season, he's been seen around the town, you know, going out into villages, going to local pubs. He was having a stroll around Leicester. He was in the train station, looking to really understand the city and be part of the city. The fact that he went on that, you know, I've never known a manager do a pre-match lap of honour like he did. going round and appreciating the fans and trying to build that connection.
I didn't realise that was before the match. I didn't see it on the telly.
Yeah.
I was doing the the show.
Yeah, and at the end, I don't know whether you noticed or the coverage may have cut away, or whether you noticed, Dave, that he made sure the players went round to clap the fans, and not just those in the corner, the noisy lot. He told them to go round. It's the first time in God knows how much I can remember that wasn't an end of season tour of the pitch, that they went down to the corner near where the kids are, and they went all the way round, and he made them do that. He seems to realise that there has to be a connection between the players and the staff and the manager and the fans, and that seems something like he's looking to build from an early thing. So aside from all the football, the subs, the tactics, all that, I was really impressed with how he's gone about his business in trying to show that he wants to be part of this football club.
God, to say, I'm agreeing with you, Craig. Absolutely fantastic point. He had fish and chips, didn't he? He was, in some pub god. I mean, this is what we never had with previous managers. And, whether he's been told that, look, we need to sort of build bridges with the fans, I don't know. But the fact that he did that speaks volumes. And like you say, make the fans go round, not just to a particular part. Dave, your thing that you brought this weekend?
I want Craig's, because I didn't realise all that. I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. It really is. I mean, I knew he was a good guy. So I've got a lot of friends that are Rangers fans, and so I don't know what went wrong, really. They didn't know what went wrong, but clearly something did. But he was a very good fans manager and a community manager. And you're right, we haven't had that forever, that I can remember anyway. Maybe Martin O'Neill, well, that was just slagging the fans off early on. But no, that is brilliant. What I learned, which sounds insignificant in comparison, is that Woot phase is going. That's what I picked up from that. I don't know whether did he go around the ground, Craig, afterwards?
No, he didn't. He went off, and I've got a feeling that there was a couple of players that Cifuentes went down the tunnel to bring back out,
but not him.
Ross wasn't one of them. But in some ways, I can understand that a little bit. If you've been given stick like that, I know it's a small minority of them, and that's what. But in the heat of the moment, I think that's why he's done that, and it was basically two fingers up to you. In hindsight, he may think, we'll see. We've seen players turn it round. It'd be interesting to see if he can.
It's not going to help his relationship with those fans by just walking off. It'd have been better going over there and just putting his hands up like this, or doing whatever he does like that, dismissing.
But he's human. He's human.
Chris, are they? I mean, footballers go for the glory. They want the money. They want everything else going from them. They have to be different. They cannot behave like human beings behave, I'm afraid, because if they do, it doesn't work out well normally.
I think you can look at Jamie Vardy and go, look, he just gave it back as good as he got, and what have you. But not every player is a Jamie Vardy, and I have to say, look, I'm really defending Vout here. I think he had every right to do what he did with the Cupping of the Year, and he had every right to walk off at the end of the match. Why should he go over and show appreciation to fans?
Because there's 28,000 others that didn't boo or woot. That's why.
I don't know. I'm again. I'm with Craig on this one. I think he had every right to do that with the way that they spoke to him.
I mean, what you want from your players is to do it on the pitch. And if he does it on the pitch and he shows his commitment on the pitch, then I think the fans will be more than happy with that.
Yeah,
I've
never been a fan of players doing that anyway, because it's always sort of
all that and kissing the badge and all that.
I know, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But, You know, if they'd just gone over and given a wave and then gone off, that
Yeah.
would have been fine. Yeah.
There's a big thing in the Mercury and Leicestershire Live that Marty's had a word with about Faze. I spoke with Out and learning more about his time here in Leicester and his feelings, Cifuentes said. I guess all the players want to do their best, and perhaps it's not easy when you feel you're under pressure or scrutiny. That's for Marty to handle as the manager, and it's good to see that he took that from the game and nailed it straight away. He's not left it. He's gone straight and said, "Let's have a word," you know.
I mean, it's been I mean, it was interesting that further. I think part of that article or the report on that was that he also took advice from the other players and Ricardo and the like, and brought them together to try and bring this solidarity. He's put this sort of players management group together of 7 players, those who have been there, you know, a long time, but included, you know, a couple of the younger ones. I think Ben Nelson's included in this group of players who are almost like this players' council to make sure that they all feel that their voices are being heard as well and not sort of alienated, that, you know, giving them responsibility, you know. And I think we've seen that. The one negative I'm going to give it.
Hang on a bit, because we're going to come to negatives. And go on. Is it a player or is it a?
No, it's about the team.
Okay, sorry. Carry on then. Sorry. Yeah.
So the one negative is, even when they were down to 10 men, we brought every player back to defend a corner. I hate it in normal games. You know, if you keep 2 up, they've got to keep 3 back, you know. And the fact they'd gone down to 10, and it was almost like it's programmed in that, the opposition have got a corner, we'll all make our way back to the edge of the box. I'd like that to change. You know, if we're going to be this, you know, team that can hit teams on the break, then that's the way to do it, not pack your own box from a corner. That would be my only negative in terms of what I saw tactically.
Dorco, look, he says, Faze is finished, the fans will never back him anymore. The thing is, Dorco, fans are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Changing their minds very much. Fickle, that's the word, thank you very much. You know, look up for the Leicester City football fan in the dictionary, it will just say fickle. You know, how long ago were they booing and wanting Thomas out, and he was shit because he'd gone to Sheffield United and they were letting goals in? Every football fan hated, you know, Leicester fan wanted him out. Now he's probably our number 1 left back. You know, what were Leicester fans' attitudes to Ben Chilwell? He was England's first choice left back, but apparently he wasn't good enough to play for Leicester. And Ray says there, and please go back to the start of the video, Ray, because we did go on about the booing, so I don't want to go through it all again. He's professional. The way to win back over is effort and performance on the pitch, which he did, because he came on and scored a goal. So he did all that. Now, if we can't appreciate that, then I think that says more about us as fans than it does the player, to be honest with you. But my thing that I'm going to take away from this thing, and it is to point, in a way, it's about the fans, and that is we're going to have to learn to be patient. Booing after that first half performance, I think, was totally out of order. Like I said, if you're going to do it at the end. I don't think that first half was that bad when you consider the game, the atmosphere, who we were playing. Dorco, probably they did, and who can blame him? Because, you know, again, I would. If you're giving me that stick week in, week out, I'll say, fuck you, I'm going to go off to Chelsea and earn 4 times more money. So, you know, stuff Leicester, I would say. But no, I think that first half, okay, we're playing Sheffield Wednesday. Everybody is expecting, and here's where you've got, you know, fans that, to be honest with you, talk out their arse. It's going to be 6-0, it's going to be 7-0. We're going to walk this game. It never was. They were going to come up and they were going to put a fight up. And they went at us for the first 10, 15 minutes. And they managed to get a goal. It was unlucky. We didn't deserve to go that goal down. It took Skip went in to try and block it. It came off him and went in, and otherwise I think Jakob would have got it. So we weren't, and as I compare that first half to last season's 90 minutes, and that was better than most of last season's 90 minutes. But we've got to learn to be patient because we are the scalp that everybody wants, and probably Ipswich and Southampton a bit as well. But they are going to sort of build the wall against us, as they say. And we're going to have to, I say, we can't expect to go and be putting 5 and 6 and 7 past teams. It ain't going to happen unless we happen to be able to get Lionel Messi in, maybe. Last one question for you two. Last 2 questions, and I just want one-word answers with a name. One player who really impressed you, Craig.
I'm going to say... Fatwa, I'm going to say Mavididi. I'm going to say Mavididi. Fatwa is easy. That is easy to say. I know you thought, Dave, that Mavididi didn't do as much. He's not as good a player as him. What I like about him is his intent. His intent is to try and get past his man and beat him. And he was really unlucky that he didn't score when he went inside and outside and lost balance and then hit the keeper in the chest. But his intent to me always seems to be that he wants to go and beat someone, and I like that about him. It won't always come off, but don't stop doing it. So I'll say him.
Dave.
Well, I was impressed with El Canusi, or Canus. I thought he worked hard. He whinges a bit too much, but he was taking the ball off players and moving forward with it. And I thought, he could be a good player for us this year. He didn't get that much of a chance last year, did he? If I remember rightly. Buonanotte was.
Well, it was an either-or situation for him, wasn't it?
But him, and I thought Ayo, the second half, I thought he became the perfect number 10, sitting behind the striker.
So the one word answer that I asked you for, naming one player, who are you going for?
The disappointing one was the Samari staying.
Oh, hang on a second. That's my next point. Will you fucking stay on point? This is why we got rid of you last time. Stick on the fucking point.
Oh, let there be light.
Let there be fucking light. You're more like the devil. Look, you're going to go for El Canus, and that was you. I'm going to take your first answer.
That was my man of the match, I think, yesterday.
I'm going to mute you in a minute. I'm going to go for Ayew because I think that he did all right, and I think in that role, I think that suits him. He's not a winger, and it does suit him. Now, I'm going to say it again, Dave. So just listen to this. I want a one-word answer with just one name. Not your top 3. You can't decide. I want one name, one answer. Who still has a point to prove? Craig.
Well, you might as well let Dave take Samari.
Is that who you're going for, Dave? He's going for Samari.
He's muted himself.
Yeah. Oh, we can, but love you, Dave. Love you, Dave.
As well, but I'll go for Samari. Yeah,
go for Samari.
I'm going to say I think again Samari, but that's why I wanted Dave to have him because that's taken him off. I was most disappointed in a player that I've backed quite a lot, and it's not farce. JJ, I thought he was disappointing. I think his instinct to go forward, which was the best part about his play, seems to have been coached out of him, or he's scared to do it, and he takes the easy option out too much for me. And I'll also say a little bit of Coley.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you like giving 2, then I'm going to give 2. I don't get this thing on. I mean, what I love about football. Scott's come in and said, Winks, is that for... Oh, he had a great performance. Sorry, Scott. Is that, look, you ask 10 people for the man of the match, you get 10 different answers. I thought Okoli did okay. I don't know why people have said he didn't have a good game, but that's football. Like I say, we all watch it and we all take different things.
I'm happy to explain why I thought he was disappointing. Not that he had a bad game. Not that he had a bad game. But when you need players to be decisive, he wasn't. there was 2 instances, one led to their goal, when he's trying to nod a little ball down to someone in a tight area instead of just getting it out of the way. Yeah. And that's the same thing with James. I like my players to be decisive, whether it's backwards, forwards, whatever you're choosing to do, have it in your head before the ball's near you and be decisive in it. When you're dilly-dallying, and Samari does this as well, that's when problems are caused. And that's, for me, where I found that I had the problem with Okoli.
Yeah. I gave Okoli 7, I've got to say. I thought
overall he was fine, but those moments are going to catch you out if you're not decisive.
Against better teams.
The big worry for me, or the big, really massive worry for me, is that I'm about to agree with Dave. But the other point that is a big worry for me is that this appears to be Marty Cifuentes' first choice. And why we have to have 2 defensive midfielders, I don't know. Sumari and Skip, for me, were the 2 worst players on the pitch. I mean, they say that Sumari is a box-to-box player. He couldn't do box-to-box in Amazon warehouse. Let's be honest with you. I just don't... No, I think they both still got a lot to prove, and I wouldn't be disappointed if they didn't start for a few games now. And let's have a look at some others. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. Dave, I know I love you, and it's great to have you back, mate.
Nice to be back.
And Craig, my wise old owl, thank you very much as always.
You're welcome.
Dave, go and have your annual shower because Kate will be back next week. You know, but then you probably do that anyway because you've been watching her. You used to park outside her house, you know. I'll tell you.
I thought she was boycotting me.
But thanks very much, guys. I've got to say, check out the BBC because it's the first report of the season from Leicester Till I Die. Kate did this week's, so go and check it out. It is a good read. That's on the bbc.co.uk/LCFC.
I'd like to say one more thing as well. Everybody who's commented, you know, we disagree. That's what football's about. But if you put your comments there, you argue your points well, then they're all respected, and that's what makes it a great debate show.
That's why this is allowed to happen because everybody disagrees.
Yeah,
it's soccer, isn't it? Football.
So. And you have to remember, and I always say this about me as well, because people always come on and go, you didn't say that last week, and last week he was doing all this. I'm whatever Craig says, I will probably only ever agree with him twice in a show. And it's the same with Dave and Jack and anybody else who's here. I'm not here to agree with them all the time. Right. I'm here to pick pieces into their argument and try and come back. And I don't always do it successfully. Sorry, Dave?
Can't remember twice.
No. Well, you're the exception.
The season, maybe.
But yeah, that's a lot. If we all sat here and went, weren't we good? Everybody got a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Thank you, good night, and that was the end of the show. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat. Really, really do appreciate it. Like I say, we argue, we banter, and then we shake each other's hand and we have a beer. That's what football should be about. That's what it,
Indeed.
That is it. Banter. But thanks to everybody who was in the chat. If you're watching it on catch up, get your comments in below. Everybody, please like the video. It really does help the channel. And subscribe. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, whatever that may be, thank you for lending me your ears. Gentlemen, I will see you in a week's time when hopefully we'll be in the second round of the Fizzy Pop Cup. And we might even be top of the league if results go our way. Who knows? Thanks very much.
Nice to see you, boys.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.